But the really important part of this is we really have to distinguish the potential from the actual. And this is really, really critical, is that active learning spaces and active learning classrooms do not guarantee anything. They don't guarantee anything can happen right. Why? Because it all depends on you. And I think that's really one of the most important things we have to think through. When we look at the potential of our learning spaces, we can use rating systems and measurements to actually score the potential of all of our classrooms on campus. The learning space rating system is one of them, where we can actually go through and score all the different things and come up with, this is a great space, right? This is a really amazing space. But we can have an amazing space and we can use it badly, right? So along with that potential argument, we have to also look at how are we actually using it? Are we doing post-occupancy surveys, interviews, focus groups, direct observations? How are we actually using these wonderful spaces? And this is kind of that evaluation program that we want to have go with any kind of change, and something you probably want to think about as well. As you change your class, as you take advantage of these new spaces, could you document it? Is this something that you can do as action research on your own? Think about your own change in thinking. Think about what's happening with your students and look at opportunities to publish that because that's a really interesting source of research that you can have as well in terms of the scholarship of teaching and learning. But I want to give you an example of a car. When you talk about the Formula F1 as a good example, there's a great debate where they start arguing about, no, treaded tires, we have to put the treaded tires on, we're going to get better performance. No, flat tires, no, this kind of tweak on the engine, we're going to need to do better. This tweak on the engine, we're going to need to do better. No, we need to change the cockpit this way. So tons and tons of discussion about the actual car itself. The reality is, of course, it's a big difference if Michael Schumacher is driving this car and if I'm driving this car. And I want to make that same analogy, and I think you can see where I'm going with the classrooms, is that you can have these wonderful classrooms and you can argue to the end of day whether having the whiteboards or not having the whiteboards, or do we want to have this kind of movable furniture, that kind of movable furniture, this kind of AV, that kind of AV, whatever those decisions are. The reality is that if you don't have the faculty members to take advantage of it, none of it matters anyways. And it's that key point that we want to think through at the end of the day. We created a whole comprehensive support program that goes with our faculty teaching in these active learning classrooms that I think that you want to think about as well in terms of we had before and after teaching, the idea of group meetings, working with instructors, resources, etc. We had consultations. We did practicing in the room with faculty. We did email and phone support as you normally would in any classroom, job aids, etc. Observations. We would be called to classrooms for, can you just come and see? I'm going to try this new, right around the room activity, and I'm just going to get some feedback as how you think it went, as an example. My first time trying a right around the room, I've never done it. This could be really interesting. And even things like in-room tech support. So one of the things that we did that really worked very well in our new spaces is we would throw students at the problem. So we actually had a student that we hired that would sit in the room and wait. Kind of like the ambulance outside a bar idea, right? So you'd wait for something to happen, and the student would basically swoop in and solve any sort of problem that would be there. It was interesting because we had the discussion with our IT folks. Well, yeah, but there's a phone. They can just pick up the phone, they get the IT people, and they can troubleshoot it. It's like, no. We need somebody right there on site. If you're going to be trying something new and risky, you need somebody there to be able to help you through that process. And I think that's an important thing that we need to do, is that we often do not reward risk in teaching. And if we're going to be asked to take those risks, we need to make sure that the support system around that is helping all of you and helping all of your faculty moving forward. So we need to focus on high-quality faculty development in high-quality learning spaces. If we don't support the faculty taking advantage of these spaces, we are never going to get anywhere, and we are never going to really maximize the types of learning that we want to have happen. And I think that's the most key part where I want to end, because at the end of the day, learning spaces matter when you have instructors that can take advantage of them.